Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, I still have my makeup on from when I told my most recent episode of Tales from the Haunted Victorian, but I thought this makeup really fit into me doing a review of this little book, which is called Goddess of Filth by Castro. This just came out, I believe, about a week ago. So when I first picked up this book, I did so because I thought it was going to be your average everyday possession and exorcism story, and it does have those elements in it, but it is something completely different than what I thought it was getting into. So just quickly running through the synopsis. So we have 5 Latin American girls, and just as they're starting to finish up high school and they're going to start going their separate ways and, you know, starting their adult lives, they decide to have a seance. And as we know, this is where a lot of possession and exorcism stories start. Seance goes wrong, Ouija board goes wrong, whatever the case is, we always know that this is going to spell trouble. So when the 5 girls hold the seance, something dark and otherworldly and ancient comes through and inhabits one of the young women, Fernanda. And immediately she starts to speak in a different language, a very ancient language, and she starts acting very, very strangely. And as time goes on, she starts wearing black makeup on her face, and she'll do things like running her hands over her mother's rose bushes and tearing her hands apart on the thorns. So like I said, that's kind of the premise of where this starts, and I don't want to give too much away at all because, like I said, this is not your normal possession story. And as the story started to develop and it started to turn into something a little bit different, something completely new that I had never ever seen done before, I found myself getting very excited. I sank into this story. I thought it was just fantastically done. I thought the ideas that the author had here, like I said, it was something a little bit different. So I've read and watched a lot of possession stories, and this is not your run-of-the-mill, you know, girl gets possessed by a demon, priest comes in and exorcises her. But even deeper into this story, so totally separate from the possession story, which is great, by the way, we also have themes here of a coming of age story, women who are really coming into their early adult years and they're starting to figure things out for themselves. And of course, like I said, these are 5 Latin American women, and they come from very strict, sort of, I believe, Catholic families, and they're starting to go through things that I don't know a whole lot about because I don't have experience with this culture. So I found myself, when I was reading, you know, I would come across new terms or new ideas, and I would want to go in and research them myself so I would understand what these women were going through. And then besides the sort of coming of age and what the girls had to go through with their families and the Mexican culture, the amount of femininity that bursts out of the pages of this book, the feminism is just so empowering. And there's kind of an underlying story here of sometimes how young women are held back by beliefs or their own life experiences or their families or what they're supposed to be like, how they can find freedom from that. And so the feminism is outstanding. We have the divine feminine in here. We have women's mysteries. And it really made my heart sing when I was reading this. And I can imagine that the author of this book is an amazing, strong woman who really believes that, you know, we should break through all of the divisions and what we're, you know, expected to do and how we're held back. And those themes were just simply outstanding. So for the horror element here, of course, like I said, this starts off with a possession story. story. And I'm not going to lie, there are some explicit scenes in this book. Specifically, they are very sexually explicit themes, and so this is definitely an adult book. Just to let you know, going in, there is, you know, young women who are coming into their sexuality, and of course it's a horror book, so you can expect some adult content. But I think unexpectedly, with all of those themes of feminism and the divine feminine and women's mysteries, and it was such a good read. I felt empowered. I felt proud to be a woman when I read this story. And so I just gobbled this book up. It was so good. The story was so well written. So I'm going to go ahead and give it 4.5 stars. And the only reason why I'm docking that half a star is because this is told from kind of dual timelines. And when I was going from chapter to chapter, sometimes I could find it a little clunky. I could find it a little confusing because you weren't really sure when you started reading the chapter who you were reading from and where they were, because it would kind of jump back and forth with timelines a little bit as well. So that's really my only complaint with this book. So I have to 100% recommend going to pick up Goddess of Filth. Like I said, this is a brand new release, and it wasn't on my most anticipated list because I hadn't heard of it when I did the first part of my anticipated list, but the synopsis will pull you right in. It did once I found out about it, but then there's so many themes going on in this book. Some of the quotes that were going on here I actually highlighted myself because it was just so well written, and I honestly can't wait to read more from this author. I think she is absolutely fabulous. So that's my full review of Goddess of Filth. I hope you guys go to pick it up. Like I said, I'm giving it 4.5 stars. Please, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Leave me a question or a comment down below because you know I love talking to you guys. But until next time, everybody, stay spooky. Bye.